A Woman's Way. Now, before I start this podcast, I want to make sure every woman knows that I'm not trying to, act like I'm a woman or really understand the logic of a lot of women. This is something for this podcast. I did a little bit of research, reached out to some of my people, women, to really get an understanding of how a woman approaches the game so vastly different from a man. You know what I mean? And I thought, hey, just like somebody reads The Art of War because they want to learn military strategies, just like someone may read, any other books or karate or learn any other discipline to the game. I thought, why not explore how women approach chips, approach power? For a lot of cats who have open-minded, a lot of you cats aren't. You think, you're still kind of chauvinist, still a lot of things going on with you, I guess not respecting women and their intelligence, so you think it's not worth paying attention to. But just like every trick in this game, there's someone who walks around and think they're getting ahead of someone because that other someone is not doing it the way they think power is expressed. Women have learned to master this, and it's something that we should all take note of and apply to our game whenever we see an opportunity to apply it to our game. So with that being said, a woman's way. You know what I mean? So this is a conversation primarily I had between about 3 women. And it's something that I picked up, just wanted to share with everyone. But the number one thing you want to know is about women and their approach to power is women already know that they aren't men. A lot of us, a lot of young brothers, we walk around and we're men, understood. But, it's a white man dominated world and we don't take into consideration that we're not white men. So there's already something that we can't go at the game the same way most white people would go at the game. And it's something that a lot of us fell at because despite not being white, you still approach it like a man. You approach it with an aggressiveness. You approach it with a certain amount of I kick your ass. You approach it with the king of the hill mentality. And while that may be good in your own, when you run your own company, to have that kind of make shit happen mentality, on the way up from bottom rock, young homie, we have to use the tactics that are more effective, more efficient in our approach to getting these chips. So the number one thing, let me start off the right way because I want to use certain headings. The number one thing you want to look at the difference in how women and men see competition. A man sees competition and is tied into who they are. You understand what I mean? You never hear a woman say she's a track star. That's all she's known for. A woman doesn't put these titles above who she is. She's a woman still. You know what I mean? And that is the number one thing. But a man, when he sees competition, he says, I am a basketball player. He changes his clothes to be a basketball player. He goes out and does everything to beat other basketball players. He falls deeply in love with the idea of being competitive and somehow beating everyone else like they're on some goddamn quest on a video game. Like this is Zelda or Final Fantasy and shit. And so many motherfuckers get caught up in this game, in competition, because men see these things as tied into who they are. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hustler. I'm a knockout artist. I'm a banker. I'm a chip maker. all these different things. Because we learn a different way. We want to be known for something. You understand what I mean? That is part of being a man. But if you look at women, they don't go about it that way. And as a result of them, if it's not being tied into who they are able to maneuver in life a lot easier. Because it's not like they're not competitive. It's just not they're competitive in the sense of going to tell everybody what's my motherfucking name. It's just not their nature. So that is a big advantage in business because they can fall back a lot easier. They can yield to power a lot easier. And let me throw in number 2. Let's talk about it in terms of power. Women don't mind yielding power, meaning they kind of bide their time. In other words, you being powerful doesn't really mess with them in their power. Men don't have that. We don't see it that way. We see it, there's one king of the hill, and if I gotta knock that motherfucker off, so be it. There's only gonna be one powerful motherfucker in this game, and that's gonna be me. And it's a pullover from your competition. You understand what I mean? From the way you see yourself. That you think in order to have chips, you have to go knock motherfuckers off, or it's going to be a fight. And don't get it twisted. I don't want you to think that I'm somehow absolving myself from this shit. This is a learning experience for me too. Because when I think about going to make money, the first thing I think about is who I have to go against. I have to be prepared to take down motherfuckers. Instead of really just thinking, nobody's there. I'm not competing against anybody. Let me fall back. You hear that's a lot more in my podcast from the beginning to now, that I've kind of matured to the point of thinking, fall back a little bit, be quiet, handle your shit, knock things down, get things done. They don't need to see that I'm accumulating power. I don't need to be so out front with my shit. I need to fall back. You know what I'm saying? The beauty of this whole thing of understanding a woman's way is that this is why people think women are more smart or more intelligent than men, right? It's primarily because they recognize from day one that they couldn't walk in like a man because they aren't a man. So as a result, people tend to believe they're smarter only because they've been maneuvering, using these kind of tactics for years before a young cat like yourself, young brother like yourself, gets up and decides to change their tactics, because you can't walk around socking motherfuckers all day. But it takes you a while, because you have to at first get over your ego and your manhood that says I should be out here knocking motherfuckers down, conquering lands, instead of saying let me accomplish a lot, let me build my stuff, let me stack my chips. It's something in us, you know what I'm saying, that makes us retarded to this chip game early, because we're trying to prove we're a man, instead of really trying to accumulate and stack. Let the chips speak for you. You hear me say that in more recent podcasts. So this is something I had to learn myself. Fall back, be quiet, handle your shit, let the chips speak for me. But the third thing you have to recognize about a woman's way is that they're much more strategic. You're just now learning the strategy. You've been listening to the Rise and Grind. You've been hearing me kind of give you little tidbits of this and how to think about it, because I've been building my strategy toward the chips for a while. But before this, you didn't think about it. You just thought about, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to fucking bull rush the door. It's one of my favorite Jay-Z lines where he say the whole industry can hate me, I'm going to thug my way through. And that's just a raw, masculine emotion to say, fuck everybody. You ain't going to let me in. I'm just going to kick everybody's ass to get through. I don't care who comes in. Right? But a woman never has that ability. I'm not saying they're not capable. It's like they don't default to that first. We default to kicking ass. They default to much more of I want to call it a whatever. If you ever seen a woman when she's dealing with an irate man or some dude who's really out of pocket, you always hear a woman say, like whatever. In other words, she's saying, whatever you saying, motherfucker, I'm going to still do it my way. Right? I'm not really worried about you. You just popping off at the mouth. I'm going to be quiet and fall back and let you complete your venting and your ego run, and I'm going to fall back and just say whatever. See, with that idea saying whatever, what they did at that moment was dismiss the other motherfucker's power. Whatever, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to do me. And women do something that men forget to do. They shut up faster. They just shut up faster when it comes to chips. We say, like me saying, what up, whatever, motherfucker, fuck your family. I still have to stop myself from saying that extra 2 or 3 lines. You a bitch to the game, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Because my masculinity comes through, my ego comes through. But a woman would just say whatever. And that's it. Silently walk away. See, their strategy to this game is not the bull rush. Their strategy is to say, this motherfucker, he a lightweight. Don't pay attention to him. Whatever, motherfucker. I'm still gonna handle my shit. It ain't nothing you can do about it. Just sit here and be frustrated. So you will see a lot of women when they have disagreements with themselves. It's usually somebody saying, she not even paying attention. Because that woman said, fuck you. You ain't gonna stop me. Let me handle my shit. Right? And since it's not in most women's nature the first thing they do to start fighting motherfuckers, it's not like they're gonna come to blows like men will over stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? If somebody did something, you don't see women going to get their guns to come blast motherfuckers down the street. They have another way of handling, things that gives them patience and, a little bit different than us. And I'm not saying that this is 100% all women. You understand what I'm saying? But if you look at some of your most powerful women in the United States, whether that be Oprah Winfrey, Martha Stewart, or you look at even Hillary Clinton, there's a toughness there, but it's not a masculinity toughness, not a male's toughness. It is actually kind of like, I'm gonna get my chips anyway. I know you motherfuckers don't like me. I know you underestimate me, but I'm still proceed to get my chips. I'm still gonna proceed to do what I need to do. I'm still gonna dominate where I need to dominate. In other words, my favorite thing to pick up from this is that they don't care to compete anyway. Like, you ain't gonna stop them. But the number 4 thing I want to get to is that most women don't need to be recognized. And I don't mean that in the sense of women, let me put it this way. Women need to be recognized in the things that they do. So if you ever see a woman in a corporate atmosphere, she wants to make sure her name's on these things because they know the game way better than us. Meaning, the more things that they have their name on, the more accumulate, the more they know that it comes down to saying, freaking Martha did 20 things and yo loudmouth ass, even though I think you're a natural born leader, Martha's more effective. So who are they going to move up when it comes to this chip game and business? They're going to move up the woman. She might not have the loudmouth leadership skills to bull rush motherfuckers, but she probably is the most effective. This is why you always see, and this is a change in times now, women have much more power. But in the past, women would be, always be brought up with a strong person. They would say, you always keep that woman. She's your right-hand woman. Really, she's the brains behind the dumb motherfucker who's loud and aggressive. You know what I'm saying? It's like a backup plan. A genius behind the loud mouth. The great orator has a speech writer. You know what I'm saying? Women have learned to adapt to this role very easily. So they usually desire recognition for their work. They aren't desired to be, the recognition of being king of the hill, showing everybody that they conquered the land. They aren't worried about that. And also, next thing, I think it's number 5. You notice that women don't seem to have an ego problem. I don't know if that has something to do with the testosterone in all of us that makes us want to, I want to call make up fantasies about ourselves. And but usually a woman, this is why women usually can hurt men very bad, because of the woman sitting next to you if you lie into the world, she's sitting there saying, but you the motherfucker who pee on themselves and you shit on yourself, and you're the motherfucker who was scared and you walking out on stage talking like you were high host and that you were the conqueror. But realistically, 10 seconds before, I have to calm you down and give you some warm milk because you're not who you say you are. And usually women keep that hidden out of respect for their husband or whoever they're next to. But they don't seem to have that shit where they exaggerate themselves the way men do. Men have a problem exaggerating themselves and their ego gets full bloom. But another thing you should notice about women and the way they go about doing things is that they don't jump to conclusions. If you ever seen, let's say, a fight or anything else, a guy will say, not only fuck you, but fuck your family. Fuck everybody from that side of the so-and-so. You never hear women go to that far whenever there's a dilemma or a problem. They usually fall back. You never hear them say, fuck everybody over there. Men do this all the time. We do this shit all the time. We jump to a far off conclusion, right? The cops are, fuck all cops, right? And realistically, it's just them two dudes, but we just say, fuck it, fuck everybody. And that's just our ego and our masculinity again coming out in simple shit. But by jumping to conclusions the way men normally do, we actually create a whole class of enemies instead of just the dudes who are the problems. You understand what I mean? So we create bigger problems because we jump to conclusions instead of falling back. You know what I mean? And one of the biggest things you need to understand about women, whether it's be number, I don't know where I'm at now. Women are very used to being underestimated. You know what I mean? They're used to the games that people play when they tell women are not smart. Women are used to people double checking their work, coming in trying to jump in front of them. In other words, what I always tell people, women are geared for corporate America. Perfectly geared for it. You know what I mean? Because they have the right temperament to accept that, people may not like them or people may call them bitches, and they just seem to keep on plugging away because they know that the words, are not really who they are, and it's just a situation. A lot of brothers, we don't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the reason why I put out this podcast is because sometimes you have to realize that you're not in a powerful position. We desire the power. We are going to build the empire to get the power. But in the meantime, we're not in power. And to go out there socking motherfuckers, or to be full-blown masculinity, ego man, is not the tactic to win. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, let me tell you something. I don't want you to go full-blown woman way either, because we're not women. Men have two things, right? We have brawn and we can have brains. Most men, the dumb men you see, use brawn, right? This is why they will get stronger and everything else. The best combination is brawn and brains. Women never have any brawn, so they use their brains, right? But when a situation come up, they don't have the physical might. You understand me? Go out here and sock motherfuckers in the faces. So the goal is for us as men to understand to use both tactics. You understand what I mean? When needed, not at all times. But the last thing I want to get through to you, so you understand, is women have a real commitment to their goals. You understand what I mean? I remember that interview with Boss Mac, and he said, women can't be out here losing their jobs because, they got to take care of their kids. You know what I'm saying? It's rare to see a woman abandon their kids, right? It's rare because women take their responsibilities and their commitment to whatever it is very seriously, to the point of whatever it takes. You understand what I mean? Women will damn near work 2-3 jobs. They will do a lot of things that men are unable to do. And that's why a lot of brothers, you always hear women say, we're stronger than you, and they want someone who will carry the weight because they think you aren't stronger than me as a woman, thinking that. Now, I have sisters and I have nieces and cousins, and I have very strong women, and my mother and everyone's a very strong woman. And, I grew up in a different environment than most of you, so I'm used to women having a little bit more power and saying what they mean. And so I don't usually have any problem with women, like you may call them a bitch. I'm just laughing saying she's aggressive. She's a fighter. She's tough. I'll give you a good story. One of my buddies, he married a woman. And when I first met her, me and her didn't get along at all. Years went down the line. We finally calmed down, and she said, she came to me, she said, Freeman, I really like you. I think you're a good guy. And she said, I don't know why me and you had a problem in the beginning. And I said, I already know why we had a problem. I said, you're a damn fighter and I'm a fighter. I mean, what's the use? We're two people coming together. Either we're going to get along or it's going to be a big ass brawl. And I said, so in the beginning it was a brawl. But I never underestimated her. I knew she was a killer. Now, my friend who was married to her, not married to her no more, he didn't know she was a killer. So when they got divorced and they have these kids, she's going for all the money because she's a killer. And he underestimated. He thought she was just some regular woman who's going to sit there and cry and feel bad. Nah, she came out with both guns. She grew up in a bad neighborhood in LA. She was running and gunning, doing shit for herself for a long time. She grew up very similar to me. You understand what I mean? So I could sense it. Like another, a giant can see a giant. I sensed it when I met her that, okay, we dealing with a killer. I'm going to fall back and treat her with respect because I know that she got the gun on her just like me. So it's a similar mentality. But women are more committed than men. They see a longer picture. I want to call it, like a lot of people say, chess. It's like they're playing a master strategy from day one. You understand what I mean? They knew they weren't a man. They knew they couldn't use these tactics. So they came in with the chessboard when all you motherfuckers were still out here trying to lift weights. So they're always ahead of the game because they had it for so long. Now, I'm not saying all these women are this way, because that's like saying all women are master business women. But it's the same numbers that it's not all men are master businessmen. Y'all motherfuckers, everybody on here listening to RNG is masters to the game. Y'all learning from me, I'm learning from the situations, and we all learning together. But what if we would have knew this at 14? Because a woman knew she wasn't a man at a very young age. So she's seasoned, 24, 10 years in the game, 34, 20 years in the game. You understand what I mean? She's very seasoned by the time she really took that route. So I wanted to make sure you understand that a lot of you cats don't want to hear about a woman's way because you're kind of chauvinist. And you think me telling you to pay attention to how these women maneuver is somehow taken away from your masculinity. But understand one thing. We're in this game to make money, build empires, take care of our family. Whatever way works, young homie. I'm sitting here on a night with a damn microphone in my hand talking about women's ways to get money, business, and how they approach these situations. Do you understand what I mean? My brain is wide open to the game. I don't sit back and say, I can't learn this because she's a woman. I'm listening to everybody. I might not go about it the same way because a woman has a different way, but it does not mean I don't want the same results. I just want you to sit back and fall back. A lot of us work with places that women are in charge of things. You got to wonder how they maneuver through all these dudes. You got to start thinking about how they got through. They took a position that was a non-masculine, a non-muscle oriented view, and they still made it. You have to start thinking about the game and all these different, eclectic talents, tactics to the game. The Chinese did it this way. The Germans do it this way. Women do it this way. The blacks did it this way. The West Indian cats did it this way. The Brazilian brothers did it this way. You have to, we study the game so we can just be unstoppable when the chips come. We have so much knowledge that we can make the maneuvers. And a woman's way is one that you can observe right now. Pay attention to how women gain power and how they get to where they get. It'll be advantageous for you as a man to understand when to use their tactics. Next time, partner.
The hardest part about this job is